Right, I thought I would do something different this time, and that's do a vlog of some description or another. I've never done one of these, so this will be interesting to see how it goes. If you're new here, my name's Gav, and I run the channel called Not Lost Honest, but I'm not on my own. I have my wife Wendy as well, who's been by my side for the last 30 plus years. Bless her cotton socks. I thought I might do this and tell you who I am, how we come up with Not Lost Honest, and yeah, a bit about me and what we've got coming up in the future as well. Righto, I've got about a 30-minute drive, so we'll see how we go. Turn that off. Oh, I'll end up with a copyright strike. Don't want that. Nice cruiser. Righto, so my name is Gav. I'm mid-50s. What are you doing, lady? Why are you in the middle of the road? Yeah, mid-50s. I'm an old bloke, as some of the young people would say. You're an old fart. I spent 30 years in the army doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and last year I medically discharged from the Australian Defence Force, and it turns out to be probably a good thing, because my mental health was in the gutter, and I had a load of physical injuries that, you know, I was broken from my feet to the top of my head, broken from 30 years of being in the military and trying to keep up with young guys. It makes it hard. Anyway, so I do miss it. I don't miss the job so much. I don't miss the bureaucratic part of it, or the administrative process of, you know, like going out to do some shooting and all that kind of stuff. So I don't miss any of that. What I do miss is the people I work with. The people I work with were good, and they were in it for the same reason we were there. I was there, same reason I was there, and that was for good. Effectively, you want to do something good. You want to serve your country, and that's what I did for 30 years. Anyway, I know a lot of my mates watch this, so howdy, fellas. Yeah, so I come up with the name Not Lost Honest because being in the army, every now and then you get what's called geographically embarrassed or lost. And I had plenty of times where we'd been geographically embarrassed. Thankfully it was never overseas on operations, but it was pretty much all the time in a training area in Australia. Some young lieutenant or some young captain would be navigating and we'd be geographically embarrassed. You gotta remember though, this is before we had GPSs, we had maps and compasses, and if you got it wrong, you were off by a few degrees or a few mils, you could end up not where you wanted to be or needed to be. And so we called it geographically embarrassed. And you'd ask the boss, go, hey, are we lost? Nah, I'm not lost. Honestly, I'm not lost. So that's how I come up with Not Lost Honest. I also have a tendency to take a lot of random tracks, like I will miss a turn because I'm not paying attention, or I don't know, I just miss turns. Even with Google Maps going, or a off-road map going, I will miss the turn somehow or another and end up down some dirt road or some random track, and that's how I end up finding the good campsites realistically. Where have you been for the last 4 months? Why there's been really no video from us. We had a pretty rough start to the year. In December we were down in Sydney catching up with my son and grandkids as well, so we spent 2 weeks in Sydney. I'm not a fan of Sydney, it makes me depressed, and all those who live in Sydney know exactly what I mean. The traffic, the cost of getting around, the toll roads, the cost of staying somewhere, you know, it's exorbitant, it's through the roof. So we stayed in a caravan park out at Camden Way for 2 weeks, and then we come back up to Brisbane and stayed at my brother's place. He's my brother, but he's not my blood brother. He's my brother because we've had shared experiences, and I've known him and his family for 25 years at least, and I've known all the kids since they were, you know, neophyte or grasshopper as well, wee little ones. So we get on really well, and he's my brother. So we stayed at his place as well, and we come up in January, and we had our two dogs, Bluey, who was an older border collie, he was 12 and a half, and Scout, who was 8 and a half. Both of them had cancer, and both of them died about 10 days apart. Bluey had prostate cancer, which we didn't know he had, but he was progressively getting worse. I took him to the vet, and the vet's like, he's got weeks, if you're lucky. Best case scenario is he might have a month, but you know, so we made the hard decision, and he passed away, and that was on the 19th of January. And you know, Bluey, and I'll put a photo of Blue Dog up. Bluey was my mate. Him and I would go everywhere. You know, he never left my side, and you start the car, rattle the car keys, and he would be at the door wanting to go. You're working on the car, he'd be in the back seat as well. And I miss him. I miss him every day. He's definitely a big part of my life. We also had Scout, who was a chocolate and white border collie. I'll put a photo of her up. She's a gorgeous, gorgeous girl. She loved kisses and cuddles, and she'd get on your bed and she'd lay on your feet, make it hard to move, and she'd talk to you, and you know, in their way. But she wasn't really my dog. She was probably more of my wife Wendy's dog, anything. But yeah, she had TCC, which is transitional cell carcinoma. It's a bladder cancer, and it's really, really aggressive. 2% of dogs get it Australia-wide, from what I know, and you can't survive it. So in October we found out she had it. She had some surgery on a bladder to remove it. We had it tested and confirmed that it was TCC. Excuse me. And the vet said to us, look, you might have 6 months, 6 weeks, I don't know how long it's going to be. And this vet was, you know, early 70s, I think. He'd been a vet for 50 years, vet surgeon for 50 years, and he said to me, he goes, I've only ever seen this twice. Once was in his son's border collie about 10 years ago, and now my border collie as well. So we gave her another 4 months of life, and then about 10 or 11 days after Bluey passed away, we had to make a decision for her to go as well, because she had about a week left to live, and she would have died a slow, painful death as well, because the cancer had consumed half of it, or grown inside of the bladder, sorry, and it was at least half the size of that, filled up half of it. Yeah, so we had to put her down, and then my brother, where we were staying, my brother from another mother, he had I'll call it a medical event, a serious medical event, and we stayed there for longer to help support him and his family where needed. And then my sister-in-law also had what I'm going to call a serious medical event as well. So between supporting those two, we spent some time travelling an hour away, see the sister-in-law, make sure she was okay, and spending time there, and then coming back, making sure everyone was doing okay. And in all that time, we had my dad, who's 80, was looking for a nursing home, and they really couldn't find one for him, and turn the UHF off. Struggled to find one that suited him and his needs, and how well he could be cared, etc. as well, which he's managed to get into one. So he's been in one since probably around the first week of February, and it took him some time to settle in. He probably the first 2 to 3 weeks he hated it. I'm not saying he's loving it now, but he's accepted it, that he needs to be there for the support that he needs. As us as family members, we couldn't provide it to him, no matter how hard we tried. So that happened, and then we went back to Sydney to catch up with my son and grandkids again. That was like late Feb. Been camping with my brother again on Tiwa Beach, which I did film some stuff on there, and I'll try and turn that into a a video at some point, a YouTube video, where he breaks down a tenderloin itself, like that long, and he breaks it down in a restaurant grade quality steaks, and they were, when he cooked them on the barbecue, oh, they were mint, oh, melt in your mouth stuff. Brilliant, we loved it. It's like it's good having a brother who's a personal chef. It is fair dinkum. You go camping with him, it's like having your own personal chef for 3 days. It's great because he cooks every day. You can't keep him away from a barbie, and you can't keep him away from cooking at all, because he thrives on it. Yeah, so I did some filming with him, and hopefully I'll turn that into a video soon. In that time, and all that time, we've been looking around to try and hopefully find another puppy to fill the void that's been left by Bluey and Scout. As well, we found one, but we need to go to Mackay and pick it up from the breeder, which we will do very shortly, probably after Easter. If you're wondering, today's date's the 27th of March, so after Easter and after the van's had a bit of work done to it, we'll go to Mackay, pick up the puppy and spend some time with a couple of friends there, maybe Townsville, and then the plan is to head inland for a little bit and then head south, chase the winter for a while. I've had enough of the heat, I've had enough of humidity, and I've had enough of being hot and sweating, so we're going to chase the winter, which is the exact opposite of everybody else. Hopefully go and do Birdsville, Oodnadatta track and Strzelecki track, and go and do some Flinders Ranges and Darling River Run and hit a few of those, so sort of looking forward to that.
There's no way he can screw this up.
At the same time, with all of that going on, we're looking at buying a house somewhere here in southeast Queensland, so we can put some roofs down and have a base, because we've been on the road on the 6th of April, we've been on the road 12 months, and yeah, we've seen a lot of Australia, but we haven't seen enough. We haven't seen all of it, and I would like to see all of it, but we need a base somewhere where we can come back, clean the van out, do some servicing on the van, sort of repack, reprioritise, plan again what we want to do, where we want to go, have a rest from travelling. It does get exhausting about looking for cheap or free campsites as well, and it does get expensive. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. So realistically, we haven't that's it, effectively. That's what we're up to. So it's going to be short, this one. It's probably going to be 10 or say 15 minutes maybe long. So it won't be long at all. I might stick in some drone footage from Tiwa Beach. Yep, we're on the lawn non-stop. I got the van bogged yesterday in my brother's front lawn. I knew better. I was just super tired and super worn out. My one brain cell remaining failed to work, and I drove across my brother's lawn, buried the car and slightly buried the van, and had to get winched backwards off the front lawn. And now, as my brother's wife Lou said, go and get a shovel and continue to dig, because that's your grave for ruining my front lawn. Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. So I have to fix that as well, especially before we leave. Other than that, we're going to spend Easter in my brother's place. My son's coming up to spend Easter with us, so it should be a wild time, especially with the family. It's just chaos. It'll be chaos. Righto, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to wrap it up here. If I get this out before Easter, happy Easter. If it's out after Easter, happy Easter. Hope everyone had a good long weekend, and I hope everyone got away camping for the school holidays. No matter where you are in Australia, he's looking at you. Hopefully I'll produce another episode soon, and I'll see you shortly. Hooroo!